How do you guys keep it going, man? How do you guys stay consistent? Uh, what's your schedule like? For putting out videos, putting out. We know you do a weekly show, but let the people know when that is. But how do you manage, you know, your sanity and doing 3 shows?
I mean, look, for me, Jose does all the work, so it's fine.
It's your boy Verse, and this is Open Mike with OTR Mike.
Shit, yeah.
Yo, what up, good people? It's your boy OTR Mike, and welcome to Open Mike with yours truly. Listen, this is the place where the mic is open. No matter what, we're going to discuss whatever is on our mind, whatever we want to talk about. We don't care. This is the place to do it. I got a special show this time. I got a couple of my pod brothers with me, and I want them to come on and discuss a few things just about being podcasters, YouTubers, how to better your game at it, how to get your channels in front of more people, how to get more listens, how to get yourself on those lists, those top 100 lists that I'm finding, a couple of these guys on already, but I'll let them just explain that to you guys when they come on. So first, listen, this is the host of Ravens Gatekeepers. I'll let him explain what that means. This is my guy, Hendo. Hendo, welcome to Open Mic.
What's going on? Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. And then I got 2 of my pod brothers. Listen, we got a show together. We work together. One of these guys is like the mastermind. He's the one behind the scenes that whips me into shape. I always talk about that when we're on LBHT stream. Here's Brodny. What half of LBHT?
What's going on, Mike? I think give me a little too much credit there, but that's all right. Thanks for having me. How you guys doing?
Good.
And then there's other guys, a maestro himself. He's giving everybody advice. He is probably the reason why we have an open mic show. As you see, little Mike right here, who's trying to be involved with the show. This is my man, Jose. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Lil Mikey, he's in the credits. He is an assistant producer. Okay, he gotta make sure Big Mike is good. All right.
He is. So, fellas, look, man, I want to start by allowing you guys to get an audience a little bit of what you already do. Tell them about your shows. Tell them, who you are, where they can. Let's get where you can find out where they can find you now, and then we're gonna, of course, end with that as well. But I want to make sure that's out there as much as we can get it.
Go ahead, Hendo.
Yeah. Okay, you can find me at Ravens Online on Gatekeepers on YouTube every Sunday night at 7 p.m. doing a recap of the games. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter at our Gatekeepers.
And then the LBHT crew. Let the people know about what y'all got going on over there.
All right, we are the Lunch Break Hot Take. We do a live show every Wednesday night at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube. It's also live on Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter. Also, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at LBHT Show. And we do another boxing podcast with our guy, Mr. OTR Mike, called Ring Kings Podcast. So you can follow us at all of our socials at Ring Kings Pod. What else, B? What else we got going on?
None.
None.
Oh, okay. All right. Old man. No.
Okay, we still gonna talk about that other one that nobody mentioned. We'll bring that. We're gonna bring that up. But no, guys, look, I wanted to bring you guys on because listen, the 4 of us, we always discussing how to make our shows better. A couple of you guys are always asked by other creators how to make their platforms better. So I wanted to pick your brains and find out exactly what you do. If there's any advice you can give to people, how do you keep your own shows going? How do you stay motivated and continue and to put out the content. So, you know, my first question is for all of you guys is, you know, how did your shows come about? Like, what made you guys start your platforms? What made you guys even lead towards, you know, starting a YouTube channel? Because a lot of people don't realize, a lot of creators or people that want to be creators, they don't realize that it's really two separate things. Being a YouTuber and being a podcaster is kind of two separate things. So, Hendo, what made you start Ravens Online Gatekeepers?
So initially, when the pandemic hit, you know, it wasn't really much on TV. So I started watching YouTube videos, started watching the same people, Engraven, Sip Tally, all these guys. Then I was like, you know, it's a possibility I could do this. You know, it looks fun, but it's a little scary. So let me ask my brother if he wants to do a show with me. And he was like, hey, you know, we can get this going. We can talk football because that's what we do anyway. It's just like us being on the phone, talking to each other every day. But of course, excuse me, my brother being a person that he is, you know, he's nowhere to be found when it comes time to actually do the show. So talking to Jose and Brodny, and you know, they're always encouraging people to do what they want to do, putting themselves out there. But for me, it was kind of like, I'm not sure about this. So I made my channel. I hid it for like 2 months until one day Brodny was like, is that you? And I'm like, yeah, that's me. So yeah, you know, I just figured I would take a leap. And another thing was, you know, before going to lunch break hot take, I was seeing all this positivity everywhere about the Ravens. And I was like, oh yeah, they're not gonna like me at all. But then once I went to them, not saying that they're negative, they gave alternative perspectives, and it just kind of eased the burden on me that yeah, people actually can relate to this stuff.
I like that alternative perspective. Okay, we're not negative.
Right.
For sure. And it's funny you say that, how you hit your channel. Because I'm gonna ask these other two, how did their show come about? But it's similar fashion of how B found yours is how I found theirs. I've only known Jose for 27 years, and I didn't know that he had a podcast until we were doing OTR Sports on, what was that platform, Jose?
Sportscaster.
Sportscaster.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hold up. I'm like, that looks like Jose. I'm like, nah. Like, that's not Jose. And then I see something else and I'm like, man, yo, this dude really looks like Jose. So I clicked on it and it was Jose. So I'm like, bro, I didn't know you guys had a channel going on. I didn't know you guys had a little channel. Had a channel going on. So B, Jose, how did your show come about? How long did it take you guys to plan it out? How long was it in the works before you actually dropped it?
You want to take it, B?
Yeah, it's actually very similar to what Hendo said. We talked for hours every day about football, just on the phone. Yeah. You know, and all sports, you know, everything going on with sports. And you know, like you said, when the pandemic started, I got laid off, and Jose called me up one day, and he was just like, "Yeah, man, it's time to do a podcast. We got to do it." And I was like, "All right, you know, we got nothing else to do." And it was really maybe like 2 weeks from the time we decided to do it to when we actually started recording. Because, you know, as soon as we decided to do it, we kind of just really jumped in. You know, went in and started ordering equipment that we absolutely did not need.
We bought a mixer. We're like, I got
an audio mixer off of eBay, and I got it, and I was like, man, this looks really cool. I don't know what any of these knobs do, but got some microphones and everything, and just started recording. And you know, I think the main thing when you first get going like that, I think a lot of people kind of jump in and just want to try it out and see how they like it and everything. You don't put a ton of thought into it, which is fine early on. You just want to make sure that you're having fun, you know, and it's something that you enjoy actually doing. And, you know, since it's something that we did every single day anyway, you know, it was nothing for us to kind of just log on and start talking sports and record it.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, the reason why Mikey didn't see it is because we made the decision. Look, you know, this is for anything that you do, right? Anytime you're venturing out and trying something, whether you're starting a business or just doing something different, right? The natural thing is to want to let friends and family know, hey, I got this going, you know, support, you know, and they're always excited and happy for you in the beginning. and then they start to fall off a little bit because you're brand new, you're small, and you're not really established. So and sometimes in the beginning when you're starting out something, you may not be that great at it, and then they don't want to tell you they don't like it. They just kind of fall off, and then sometimes you feel a certain way about that, right? Like, man, like I had these views in the beginning, I had these downloads in the beginning, and now people aren't listening, and you find yourself nagging them to watch it or hit that like button. And we didn't want to do that. We said, look, we want people that actually like what we're like the sports that we're talking about, like the content that we're talking about. We want them to like us, and eventually we'll be big enough, and our family and friends will find out about it. I had planned to tell you, Mikey, because I had already told Quan.
Okay.
Before you did OTR Sports, Quan was asking, like, hey, you thought about doing a sports podcast? Me and Brandon, we're thinking about doing one. And I was like, well, I already got one.
Turns out I had thought about it.
Yeah. So that's what happened with that. Yeah.
So, okay, so like for you guys, and I'm gonna keep this with you and B Jose. Was it the format of your show, right? And not just the fact of it being a sports show or whatever, because you guys do a couple different things, and that you really don't see anywhere else. Now, some people have kind of went that route, after kind of seeing, you guys doing it. But like, for example, you guys have a Black History fact to start your show, right?
Yeah.
Like, where did the format of your show come about? I mean, I know it's Ravens and Carolina Panthers based because the obvious you're a Ravens fan, so Jose. B, you like the Panthers, like, but was that did you guys settle on that right away? Was it like, okay, this is what we're gonna do, or did it take some time to say, all right, look, we're gonna structure it this way?
So I mean, honestly, the plan for the show was to, like, the name's Lunch Break Hot Take. We're going to put it out in about 30-minute episodes so people could listen on their lunch break. And we talk way too much for that. Every episode that we did was at a minimum of 45 minutes, and most of them were closer to an hour and a half. And we're like, it's not really happening. So let's just work with this.
Yeah. And we just recently started putting out our audio podcast at lunchtime, at the advice of Mr. OTR Mike. Okay, so shout out to Mike for that. When he said, I was like, oh yeah, I guess that would make sense. We are Lunch Break Hot Take. Let's put it out at lunchtime. All right. Yeah, the Black History Fact thing. It just so happened we started doing our live stream in February in Black History Month. Mm-hmm. So we're like, well, why not just do a Black History Fact, for the start of the show? And then we liked it, and we're like, we're going to keep doing it because we knew that we were going to touch on some subjects that involve race, and we're like, hey, this is a good primer for people to let them know what we're about coming into the show. And we expected, honestly, it's for the most part, it's people received it well. We haven't really heard any complaints about it, but we expected some people to kind of say, oh, I'm not really come here for this or whatever, and we can just tell them to kick rocks, but it hasn't really come to that yet.
You know what's really funny about that? If you've watched the show at all, you've seen Jose kind of, throw out surprises for people. Mikey did it to you. He announced your show on the show before you knew about it. Our guy, shout out to Derek D. Weezy over at BAM News. He kind of announced a series that Derek was going to be doing before Derek knew about it. It's the same thing with the Black History Fact. At the end of February, we just finished doing the last one. Jose was like, we're just going to keep it going. I was like, oh, all right. So, but, we were always thinking about the show, always.
Yeah.
And we're always just coming up with ideas, and we throw out ideas out there. And, when you're small like we are, you try whatever it is that comes into your head and just see if it works. And, for us, the Black History Fact really works, I think.
Yeah, it seems to be really, really well received. I mean, I'm there every Wednesday checking out your show, and obviously sometimes I'm on the show, but if I'm in the comments, I really see how people are really tuned into that, and it's genuinely something that they probably don't know. So, and it's different, especially for you guys being a sports podcast or show. you know, to have a Black History fact to start your show like that, I think is dope and is really different. But Hendo, like your format, how did the format how did you decide on the format of your show? You do some things differently than others too. And one of you kind of spoke on earlier is this, like, yo, your show is named off of what you are not going to be, right? You are
Right.
not going to hold any punches when it comes to your team.
Yes,
If
sir.
if they aren't doing well or if they lacking in the spot, you are going to call that out, which I think is dope about your show. But what went into deciding the format of your show? I mean, obviously it was created 2 months before we knew about it. So so what were some of the things that you considered and how you come about your format?
I really put no thought into it. I just know that I was watching Lunch Break Hot Take one time, and Jose just kept saying, "Yeah, the gatekeepers," and he emphasized gatekeepers. And I was just like, "I'm not a gatekeeper. I'm the opposite of that." So I just started out just making videos because I'm never really comfortable in front of the camera, so I didn't want to go live, and they just kept saying, "You got to go live. You got to go live. You got to go live." So I'm like, all right, let me just keep making videos first until I really have to do it. And that's how I came about with that.
And sticking with that, Hendo, like you are, between the two shows, right? You guys have similar shows. Obviously, you're talking about the Ravens, you're talking about football and things like that. But you grew really, really quick. And we were happy, we were really, really happy to see it, but you took
Very
off
happy.
quick. And, Lunch Break Hot Take, you guys, obviously, both shows are over 1,000 subs, but you guys had a different route to getting there, right?
Yeah.
So, Hendo, how did you handle how fast your show and your channel was growing, man? Like, what were you thinking? Like, you seeing like what all of these subs coming, and your show was new. Like, how did you handle that?
I didn't handle it well. I'm a skeptic. So I started this whole thing, and in all honesty, I wanted 50 subs. I was gonna be happy with 50 subs and maybe 1 or 2 people every now and again going, good job, and I was gonna be cool with it. But fortunately for me, and when anybody asked me, I tell them, I said, listen, I had y'all. A lot of people did not have you all to guide them. Listen, Jose, Brodny, even you, always giving out advice. Hey, you should try this. Hey, you should do that. First thing was, hey, you need to get a mic, bro. That was the first episode. You need to get a mic, bro. Like, it's just these little things that other people don't have that I unfortunately did. And that's why that's why I'm so loyal to y'all, because I appreciate everything that you've done for me, because without it, I'd have quit by now. Even to this day, Brodny will tell you, I'm just like, man, I don't feel like this. Because I had goals, and once I hit those goals, it was like, listen, oh man, I just went 500. I need that community tab. Hit 500, man. I got to get to 800. Get to 800. I got to get to 1,000. Then once I hit that 1,000, it was it's not. I won't say a letdown, but it's kind of like how they say you shouldn't meet your idols.
Yeah.
It was something that I wanted so bad, but then when I hit it, it was kind of like, oh man, now there's responsibility heaped on me. Now I have to do better.
Yeah,
now I can't just lollygag and be like, oh, I'm a small channel, so I do whatever I want to do when I want to do it. Now you have responsibilities, and you have to do things to get better and improve yourself. And I think that's what it's all about. But listen, without you three right here, none of this would be possible.
I really thought you meant like don't meet your idols, like don't meet monetization because he doesn't have any money for you.
He has nothing for you.
And that's a fact.
Like, you should change your name, bro. It's a little misleading.
But
Explain about that though. No, go ahead, Mikey.
No, I was gonna say, and I want you to remember your thought and continue. But you guys, in talking to you guys were one of the first that I seen with goal approach, right? And you guys were saying like, hey, I know speaking to you guys offline and off camera, y'all would say, hey, by this time, we should be at 500 subs. By this time, we should hit 1,000. And it kind of went exactly the way that you kind of foresaw it going. So like, say what your thought is, but then also give a piece on how it went for you guys to reach that milestone.
Well, so we started out just like Hendo. We didn't have any expectation. In fact, we only used YouTube in the beginning because we wanted to promote our audio podcast, right? I read somewhere that YouTube was a good way to promote it. So we're like, all right, let's do it. But then as I started just watching more how-to videos on YouTube and reading books and stuff like that, it said that you want to actually do videos, not just put your audio podcast on there, actually do videos. So, you know, that was the last thing that me and B said we were going to do. We were never going to be on camera. We said that, like, for sure. And then we ended up doing it. And, you know, it ended up going to live stream. And he said, okay, look, we just want to get 100 subscribers by the end of the year. All right. I remember that when we decided that, and we went on Joe Nubo's channel, right? And we were like, yeah, we just want to get to 100 by the end of the year. He was like 100, right? Like he's like, he got to 100 that night, right? Yeah. So, you know, shout out to Joe Nubo for that. Shout out to everybody that helped us out in the beginning, right? Sonny from SEG Sports, you know, Engraving from bringing us on his channel, all of them. But we really wanted to push for 1,000 after we learned about the monetization, not because we're like, oh, they're going, you know, we're going to make a lot of money. We know we're going to make pennies off of it, but it was the new rule that YouTube has, where before, if you didn't have 1,000 subscribers, you weren't monetized, you weren't in the program. You know, they can't put ads. They couldn't put ads on your videos, right? That's how it used to be. Then they changed the policy to where they can put ads on anybody's videos, no matter what. So once we were in like the hundreds, 500, 600, whatever, I was like, listen, it may only be pennies, right? But if they put ads on our videos, I want those pennies, right? I don't want you. I want to take all the money from YouTube as possible. I don't want them taking anything from us. So, you know, that's when we really got aggressive to hit 1,000. Now that we're at 1,000, we're like, okay, we have other goals in mind, but they're not centered around YouTube per se, right? Just kind of growing our brand across all platforms.
So that's the perfect segue, because that's the next question I wanted to ask you guys, and staying with, you know, LBHT, you know, you guys, in my opinion, right, and I'm sure Hendo will probably agree with this, you guys changed the game of YouTubing, right? No matter how small or big your channel is, or how big someone else's channel is, I've seen you guys give this thing that I'm about to point out to channels that are large, right? And give this idea to it. So I think you guys changed the game of YouTube, and that is, you know, going around the super chat, right? Like, you guys were getting super chats, so to speak, before you were able to enable that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, where did that idea came from? Because when you told me about it, I thought it was genius. I was like, bro, that's genius. And even being able to super chat now, you still don't. You still like, yo, you know what? This way works. And like you just said, we keeping as much as we can from Big Brother as we get, right? As we, you know, so like, how did you guys think of that? And how has that been working for you guys? And I don't know if you want to share that with the masses, or we're going to sell that idea. But either way, talk about how you guys kind of changed the game of YouTube, in my opinion.
But that came from Engraving. This is from before we even thought about doing a podcast. And I used to watch Engraving just like Hendo, and it was a live stream when he first found out how much YouTube takes from super chats, right? Because, you know, as a viewer, we don't think about that. We donate money, and we think, you know, we donate $10. You think that person's getting $10, but YouTube takes 30% of that. So you donate $10 to Engraving, he gets $7, right? The man just found out about this on the stream that I'm watching, and I knew he was salty. Like, you know, he's trying, you know, Engraving is real positive, and he's not gonna grab about anything. But I could tell that hit him hard when he found out, because anytime somebody donate, he'd be like, yeah, you know, thanks for the $20. Now, you know, minus the 30%, you know, it's gonna be more like 14, but I appreciate it. I was like, oh.
Keep It Clean was tested.
he was hot, and you know, and that stuck with me. That stuck me from that day. So when we started doing it, I was like, you know, when we get to a point where we could do super chats, I don't want to enable it. I just want to use Cash App. And then I was like, well, we can do that now. So let's just tell people to hit the Cash App. Like, we don't need to wait until we get to 1,000 subscribers. Let's do that right now. You know, now what you guys see on the live streams is, you know, you have the animation, because that's why people do the super chats. Like, they want to see the name come across the screen. They want to see that highlight. So we're like, we're not going to do the super chat, but let's give them something that's better than that. So
yeah, I mean that idea was dope. I mean, like I said, that was genius. When you first told me about that and I first seen you guys doing it, I'm like, wow. Like, I mean, there's people that's not even close, because I remember, you know, Alex from Off the Record Podcast, when he had his Lakers Central channel, he was able to do super chat, and just messing around with them, you know, on his first stream that he enabled it, I sent him a super chat. And talking to him afterwards, he was like, yeah, man, I only got, like, I sent him like $5. He was like, yeah, I only got like $2 out of it. I was like, what?
yeah.
Are you serious? He was like, yeah,
that's extortion right there, man. Like, that's way too high. I would have been mad if it was 8%. Right? 30%?
Yeah.
Nah.
Ridiculous. So the fact that you guys came up with that is dope. And if anybody uses that idea, they need to send y'all some royalties.
There are 10 million YouTubers out there. I'm sure somebody else had thought about it. I don't think that's an original idea. Now, in our circle, sure. Right?
I took that and ran with it. He was like,
I encourage it.
Yeah, he was like,
I want everybody to do it. Yeah.
But I keep telling them, listen, they need to give a master class.
Yeah.
On some of this stuff. Yeah. They need to start selling this online.
Yeah, big time.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
So, Hendo.
Yes, sir.
Right, you kind of spoke of this a little bit earlier, but, like, you know, what's the life of a content creator, man? Like, you kind of said already that, hey, I've reached 1,000 subs, and it's like, damn, now I really have a responsibility now. So for you, right, what's the life of a content creator? How does it look for you? You know, let's just say for a week. Like, do you have a goal of putting out a certain amount of videos throughout the week? Do you stick to a certain schedule? Do you hop on if something jumps to you in your mind and you want to talk about it, or if it's breaking news? What's the life of a content creator like for you?
Well, it's a little bit different now. So before, early in the year, I broke my foot. So I was at home all the time. So it was nothing for me to be sitting right here and get an idea and just make up a video. Now that I'm back to work, it's not so much. You know, I used to mess with them all the time. Like, bro, we need more streams. We need more videos. We need more this. But once you start actually doing it, it's like, you need to stop asking them for that, because it's really not everything that you build it up to be. As far as my schedule, I try to do my live stream every week. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I may do a video here and there, but I don't want to kind of oversaturate and just video for every little thing that pops up. I mean, I know that I need to start making more videos on certain topics or certain other things. But as for now, it's a preview of the game and it's a live stream. So it's 2 videos a week for right now.
And I mean, and like you said, as somebody who works, has a family, like that, that's a lot. You know what I mean? That's not easy to do. So, and we all know that you missed the promo too. So, I'll let you. We know. You don't want people to know that, but Mr. Promo is on this stream, and you see all those promos, for us. There's one guy on here that's looking out for us on that. But Jose and B, like, you guys have 3 shows. One wasn't mentioned. But what's life as content creators for you guys? I mean, we do a show together, right? Mm-hmm. You guys have Lunch Break Hot Take, which is the baby, which is the umbrella of all of these other shows that's going on. And then Old Man Gamers, who is going to make a comeback, what I'm hearing.
It's not a thing. Yeah.
How do you guys keep it going, man? How do you guys stay consistent? What's your schedule like, for putting out videos, putting out, we know you do a weekly show, but let the people know when that is. But how do you manage, your sanity and doing 3 shows?
Go ahead, B.
I mean, look, For me, Jose does all the work, so it's fine. I told Hendo this before. It's like I don't really think of days of the week anymore. It's content days. Like on Sunday, I don't watch football for fun. I watch football because I have to talk about the games now.
Yeah.
Then Monday, we record little short videos, and then we have a live stream to do with Coach Evans on Sip to Tally Films. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already.
Yeah.
And then Tuesday, it's like, okay, well, Tuesday is the day, since there's no stream, that's the day where I really kind of search for the Black history facts, right? I want to make sure I find something that's going to be interesting. Then obviously on the Wednesday we got the actual show, and then the overtime show, and and I know that Thursday is a rest day because I'm going to be up all real late, and then got to work the next day, and I'm just not going to want to do anything, right? So you kind of get a couple of those after the live stream, and then obviously with Ring Kings, that's a Saturday thing, right? Because basically all the fights are on Saturday. Mike knows, we go on there and we set up the Trello and put all the everything that we're going to be doing on there, and then people ignore it, and then we go on Saturday, like 1-2 in the morning, we just live stream, and that's how we handle that, and then it starts over again, right? So yeah, I mean, look, like I said, Jose handles a lot of all of the editing and things like that. When it comes to more of the business side, dealing with artists and graphics and our accounting and taxes and the business stuff, I do that. And so I mean, but for me, I know Jose can say if it's different for him, but it's just something, like I mentioned before, that's always on my mind no matter what I'm doing. So it doesn't really feel like there aren't off hours, I guess, if you want to call it that. We're just always kind of thinking of ideas, always thinking about what needs to be done next. So it's kind of just a constant thing.
No, that's it. You guys know, because I'm always hitting you up, just brainstorming stuff. Like, I blow B and Mikey's phone up all the time. Like, hey, what do you think about this? Or I'm thinking about doing this. And I'll just babble on, and sometimes it's a good idea. Sometimes, not so good of an idea, but like, I gotta, if I have something in my head, I gotta bounce the idea off of somebody. And, like, I think that's key. Like, you have to constantly think about it. You got to treat this like it's your business. And if it's your business, you're always working on your business, right? There are no days off from your business. So even on the days where you want to kind of just chill a little bit, you're still in the back of your mind a little bit,
Yeah, definitely. And and working with you guys, I almost feel like I'm not carrying my weight, because I'm used to doing a lot of.
No, you're doing your thing.
I'm used to doing a lot of the grunt work, and my other show, and so like here, where Jose is the guy behind the boards, that's is doing the editing and all of that, and then B is the coming up with all the ideas and stuff like that. It's just like, yo, what y'all want me to do?
Social media, like you've been doing. That's the one thing I still I hate doing it, but
it's just because we're old. And I think I speak for everyone here. It's like the younger generation, they think in memes. They think in social media posts. Everything that comes into their head, like, I don't need to know that you got a coffee and they didn't do the order right. Why did you post that? But that's just what they do. They post every single thing. And for me, at least personally, it's hard. Like, I think of stuff, and you know what I do with it? If I think of something that I think is kind of funny, or I have an opinion on a story that I just saw, I send it to Jose.
Yeah.
I'll send it. I'll send it in our group text, or I'll send it to Hendo and be like, "Hey, yeah, this thing. I just thought about this." I don't put it on Twitter,
right?
Because that's not, because it's not your business.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Hendo and myself, and we are clearly entrenched in what I like to call hashtag LBHT crew, right? You guys you're creating an army, right, of listeners, followers. You guys are even influencing people and becoming content creators, right? Like, is this what you envisioned when you started to pop off a little bit with LBHT? Was it something you envisioned in the making of LBHT? Because you guys have like you literally have a strong group. You've connected a lot of people. I mean, me and Hendo, Hendo hit me, hey, you want to come on? You know what I mean? Hendo's on my show right now. But I met Hendo as being a member of the LBHT crew. So how did all of that come about, man? And is how do you feel about seeing what's happening in between the crew that you guys are creating? And like, yeah, man, what was the expectation with that?
I mean, I love it. I love that we have a strong, tight knit group of people. We didn't have any expectations when we started. We just wanted to do just an audio podcast, and we just wanted to talk about what we want to talk about and put it out there. And after a few episodes, especially after the editing, I was like, okay, we got to get a little results out of this, right? So, and it's just going down that rabbit hole. Like, if you take it serious, right? It's okay. Well, how do you build this now? Like, how do I get people to listen? Because we weren't going to tell anybody we knew. So it was like, how do we get strangers to listen to us? So we looked at SEO, right? Search engine optimization. We read books on that and how to optimize our website, because we read that you got to have a website. So okay, well, how do we get people to click on the website? Social media management. How often you're supposed to tweet out or post your content, which is 3 times a day, which is insane. All those things, right? Like, we kept on just looking into it, and we're like, okay, we wanted to grow. We didn't know how big we wanted to be, but as we put more effort into it, more work into it, and kind of just doing our research, we're like, okay, the sky's the limit for us. We can grow this thing as big as we want to be. And then it's a mixture of having fun with it, growing it, but also the business side of it too, because we're not growing it just to be popular, right? Like, we do want to make money off of it, and we don't hide that fact. And nobody should be looking at this thinking, I'm putting in 40 plus hours a week like a job, but I'm not in this for the money. You better be in it for the money if you're putting in that kind of work. So everything that we have in mind is twofold. Yes, we want to build a strong community, but we also want to build a community that of paying customers, essentially. So yeah, it's a fine balance, but I love the process so far.
Yeah, like I said, we didn't really. My expectation when we first started was sort of, because one thing about me, I've always been really introverted. I don't like being in big crowds. I don't like talking in front of people. I never have. It's always something that's bothered me, something I've never kind of been drawn to. So when we started, my expectation really was that we would do a couple shows, nobody would listen. We would do maybe a couple more, and some people would come in and say they would make mean comments, and then I would quit, and that would be the end of the show. But it didn't go down that way. It was, we had fun. It just kind of continued to grow. And at this point, like as I said, we want to build a community. We absolutely love the group that we have together right now. We want to keep growing it. And yeah, obviously we do want to make money, and we look at that as, you provide quality and you'll make money off of that. So absolutely. We're just kind of always thinking of ways to make the show better, to make the merch that we have, to make that better, to make people want to support the show. Not just, hey, give us money because we're here, we want your money, but we want people to support because it's something that brings the value that they want to have around. They want to see us every week, so they want to continue to support it.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's taken off to being a really, really, like you said, it's a close knit community. You know what I mean? It almost it almost feels like we know each other, like we've known each other for a long time. Like I said, you guys have connected a lot of people that probably, I'm willing to bet everything I own, probably wouldn't cross paths with each other. You know what I mean? So I think that's a big thing in itself. and then on top of that, I mean, to be now helping people, it being able to put out their creativity, and creating channels and helping people, giving advice on that stuff. That's pretty big of what you guys are going on, what you guys got going on. I mean, Hendo has said already that you guys played a big role into what he's doing. Like I said, Open Mic is probably here because of you guys. So
it was going to happen one way or another. I sped up the process a little bit, but it was going to happen.
Thanks.
Yeah. So salute to you guys for that. And Hendo, but you being one of the founding members of the LBHT crew, you're one of the lieutenants. I see how you be in the chat room with the spam guys, and you one of the first ones to kick them out. But no, real talk, Hendo, you are one of the more and most supportive people I know, right? Not just in this community, but just period. From you really, really get behind people's work, you support it, you push it, you help any kind of way you can. I mean, a quick story about Open Mic. We just sitting kind of like this, talking, and I'm like, man, I think I want to push it. I think I'm ready to put it out. And I'm like, Jose, put together a little promo. And little did I know, your screen wasn't on, but your wheels were already in motion, and you were taking notes. You were taking notes on, like, hey, in your mind, I'm gonna create a promo for Mike, and the promo that was pushed out to announce the show, Hendo created that. So, man, like, is that? I mean, I feel like obviously it's your nature, but like, what makes you so supportive? Because I mean, again, you, if somebody, let's go to the old man gamers thing. They told me, they said, look, we told if we get 50 followers, 50 subscribers, then we gonna bring it back. And you was at the forefront of getting that 50 subscribers. So, man, like, what drives you being so supportive, man? And again, it's an awesome thing, and I appreciate it because you are a huge, like, not just inspiration, but a huge push and boost for me. So, what I mean, tell us why Hendo is that way.
That wasn't supportive. He did that to hurt me. He knew I didn't want to do no old man gamers. He knew I didn't want
that might be facts. But I think I have to give it to my grandmother. Growing up, she took care of her 4 kids, and unfortunately her sister passed away, and she took care of her 4 kids and then 2 grandkids, and she worked tirelessly while she had grown men and women laying about the house doing nothing. She went to work, she didn't complain. And even through all that, if I needed anything, like back in the day, I was in the jazz band. She went out and bought me a trumpet, and she just did so. She was just so selfless. And I think, I try to make her proud, and I do things to show her, aside from the things that her kids don't do, that yes, somebody listened and somebody's following in your footsteps. But then on top of that, being from Baltimore is kind of a place where it's that crabs in the barrel mentality. Yes, no one wants to see you kind of make it out. Mm-hmm. And then I come into this group, and then I'm surrounded by brothers that are pushing me, that are uplifting me. Mm-hmm. And they're not like, oh, you doing what we doing? Man, get out of here with that. Oh no, here, let me tell you what you should be doing. Mm-hmm. And I'm very high on loyalty, like very high on loyalty. And if I know that you have my back, there isn't anything that I won't do. So listen, all this stuff that y'all think is big stuff, it's nothing to me. Like, to me, it's little stuff. Like, to me, it's stuff that people who care about other people are supposed to do. These are some of the things I wish that my family and friends were doing. Because I tell my wife, I get more support from y'all than I do my best friend, than I do my first cousins. I get more, you know what I'm saying? So why not reciprocate that? Because y'all didn't have to do that for me. Y'all didn't have to tell me anything. Y'all didn't have to teach me anything. But out the kindness of your heart and being the good brothers that you are, that's what y'all did. And why should I do no less?
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna tell you a secret there, Hendo. For those that don't know, Hendo, he was in the chat. He was watching the show. He'd always comment and everything. We shout him out, like, "Hey, Hendo!" And then we started up the Patreon, and we had a fantasy football league, and we're like, "Hey, what can we do?" Everybody does a trophy. Like, we're gonna do a championship belt. And as soon as we revealed that, Hendo signed up, and he said, "I want my LBHT crew coin, and I want my belt." And so, honestly, the supporting you to do your own channel and to keep it going, it's just to kind of distract you a little bit from the pursuit of the belt. It hasn't really worked up to this point, but I still think that at the end of the day, that belt's coming home.
Okay. just know, when I run away with this league, it's all your fault, Brodny. Everything that I've done up to this point has been fueled by you from last year.
Wow. This league, we're doing a dynasty fantasy football league. It has been a success and a complete disaster at the same time. We are going to, I mean, we can do a documentary.
I'm about to say it's 30 for 30. You got to do it 30 for 30 on it.
You got to.
For my listeners who don't know what we're talking about, this is part of what LBHT offers their Patreon members. You get to join their fantasy football leagues, their pick'em leagues. You get to join their Discord and had a fellowship there. And this year's Keeper Fantasy Football League has been one for the ages.
There has been at least 40, and I took that personally, moments.
40, and we had about 3 or 4 meltdowns. A little, it's not for the faint of heart. You gotta be, if you want to get down. Like, I obviously suggest that you become a Patreon to both shows, right? But if you're gonna do it, right, you want to get in this fantasy league, make sure you are strong-willed in mind to handle. It's all fun and games. We love each other, but it's the real deal.
It ain't for the weak.
It ain't. It is not for the weak. But
hashtag no gentlemen's league.
No gentlemen's league.
Because that's how I came in there last year, tippy-toeing around. This is so much fun. Look at these guys. Oh man, I haven't been in a football league in years. Nope, cutthroat.
Yep.
Cutthroat.
In the best way possible.
But you know what? So this is going to be 2 years in a row that Brodny's the reason that the champion has emerged. Because you traded with Deshaun.
Because I put my team together.
You traded Deshaun. That won him last year. And you fueled me to put this super team together.
Oh, okay. calling ourselves super teams. I didn't know that we were Roy Jonesing it out here. But, all right, that's cool though. We'll see. We'll see at the end of the year. We'll see.
We shall.
You start off hot.
It's all
fantasy
fun.
Football. Normally that means you're gonna fizzle out in the end.
I got George Pickens. I'm not.
The closer. The closer. But no, honestly, like, you said something that stuck out to me, Hendo, and that was what I learned early on when we got into this podcast game is like, I y'all tease me about it, but I mean, it's true. I know a lot of people, right? I know a lot of people.
Everybody.
So, a lot of people.
So my thing was, oh man, we started this podcast, man. The numbers are gonna be through the roof. I know so many people that definitely gonna listen, and all the support has come from people that I haven't seen or haven't met in person. And it is, you still run into a little bit of this, and this isn't anything that you do in any community, right? But for the most part, which was surprising when we got into podcasting, the community was so accepting. Like, it was open arms, like, yeah, man, come on. And people DMing us and, hey, I want to work with you, and this is what you should do. And this is people that you don't know at all. It was almost scary and weird at kinda, because you're like, why is this person talking to me and trying to help me? I mean, we trying to do the same thing, but
all right,
that is 100% true. And for those who are listening that are thinking about getting into podcasting or YouTube, and that is one thing that you don't count on family and friends being your core listeners, because it will not be that way. They might turn out to become listeners, but it won't be your core to start off your show. Trust me.
And I'll tell you, like you mentioned. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I mean it's natural, right? People are attracted to successful things, right? And when you're starting out, you haven't garnered any kind of success, so it's kind of like, yeah, we support you in spirit, but we're not going to be
Right.
watching until you establish yourself.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Yeah.
But it's also some people don't want to see you succeed.
Yeah.
no, that's
You know, they really don't. I had a friend tell me, he was like, "Man, how you get so popular so fast?" I was like, "Listen, I was at home. I had people helping me." "Oh yeah, you was at home. That's the only reason you blew up." You know, I said, "Okay, bro. You know, that's the only reason." So.
Yeah, I would have had some different words.
Listen, I honestly didn't care because
Yeah.
the YouTube channel that he started, him and his 7 subscribers for 2 years, you know, that's
Well,
said enough.
Yeah.
You know, look, a lot of people in the beginning, they think it's easy, right? When it seems simple when you're watching, especially if you know, you like us, especially how we started. I mean, we're just using. I was just using my Surface Pro, right? My little tablet to stream and record and stuff. And I was using this free video editing app that glitched up every time I try to put something out. But yeah, it looks like it's just people are just turning on their phones and recording and then uploading it and putting it out, and they don't think about the work that goes behind the scenes, right? Like, even if you're just recording from your phone, like, you still have to do it consistently. You have to edit it, you have to upload it, you have to make sure you put in the right titles in it, things like that. Then you graduate to thumbnails. That's another thing. It's a lot of little details that people like to leave out when they're doing this. And when you jump into it and not ready for that stuff, yeah, you can still grow, but you'll grow a lot slower. And people are looking at other people, how fast they're growing, and then they start catching feelings over it.
Well, yeah, it's when you see the actual show, right? And you see people on camera just talking for however long about whatever topic, like that's what it is. They turn on the cameras and they talked. But that's not like that's how the show gets made. That's not how the show gets to you. And that's where all of the work is. And to my point about podcasters being really welcoming and wanting to help, we experience that within the Ravens community and with the Panthers, with the Panther Nation podcast with Rashad and Dave. Everybody was very helpful and everything. And I thought about it. And it's there are couple million people who do podcasts, more who do YouTube channels, but what that really represents is a bunch of people who don't want to go to work every day. And every person who makes it to the point where they don't have to go to work every day keeps that dream alive. So yeah, we'll all work together and say, hey, you know what? if we can get Hendo to the point where he can quit his job, what's going to stop us from getting there?
Right.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Yeah. And ultimately, that's what it should be about. I mean, one thing also about this community is you realize, quickly who's good at what. You know what I mean? And whoever might be strong at one thing is willing to help somebody who's weak in another. And that's I think ultimately why podcasting, and then even LBHC crew and all other crews that are helpful like this, I think ultimately we realize how much work it takes to put on this whole thing, right? So because you know how much work that person is putting in, you're like, all right, yeah, I'm willing to help that because I know he's putting in a lot of work. Whereas Hendo, like the friend you spoke of, right? How you get popular so fast? Oh, I could do that. You got people that think they could just do that, and they don't realize how much work this takes and how much time it takes and how much, I was ready to quit the first time I edited a audio episode. I was ready to quit.
It took hours.
Yes. Like I was literally ready to quit because I'm like, bro, this cannot be life. This can't be what this is about. But I think we all respect what we do, and therefore it just kind of makes it easy for you to support. And then you get a few, as you spoke of, that just don't want to see you do good or whatever. So, but while we on that, like,
good, just not better than them.
just not
Yeah.
better
That's
than them,
better.
right?
Right.
It's not better than them. But Hendo, like, if you could give any advice for podcasters or YouTubers, that's anybody that's listening right now that's saying they want to do what we do, what would that piece of advice be for them?
The biggest key for me is use YouTube for YouTube. Like, once again, since I was home and had nothing to do, I would just be up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning watching different content creators, and it didn't have to have anything to do with sports or any genres that I'm normally dealing with. I just like to see different styles to see what I kind of like and what I can work with, and then on top of that, find somebody in your niche and reach out to them, or watch their videos and see what they do that's kind of popular. Don't think that you have all the answers yourself. Don't think that, hey, I know more than this guy and I know more than that guy, and you can do it on your own. It's nothing wrong with needing help. I hate asking for help, but I knew that this was bigger than I was. So use YouTube and reach out to others for help. Those are my two biggest ones.
B and Jose, what about you?
Go ahead, B.
I think it goes back to something that Hendo says on his show, all his live streams. He kind of closes it out with, remember, be somebody important, be yourself, because you can't do what I do. You can't do what Jose does. You can't do what Hendo does. You can't do what Mike does. You do what you do. Don't put together a show of what you think it should be or what you think it should sound like. Put together something that is authentic to who you are, because that is what's going to connect with audiences. That's what's going to have people coming back and wanting to listen to you, hearing what you really think and what you really have to say, not you putting on, a show of what you think you should be saying. So yeah, I mean, I know it's you hear that a lot, but it's definitely being yourself, making sure that you're having fun doing it, and that will come through in the audio, in the video, and that's what's going to connect you to fans.
Yeah. So I'll say this, particularly podcasting and YouTubers, right? You don't need to like in reference to like what Hendo said about his friend, right? You get that a lot. You start looking at what other people are doing and say, man, they grew faster than me, or man, they're doing this. I need to keep up with them. There is no competition when you're podcasting. When you're doing a YouTube, there is no competition. Audio podcasts on podcast listeners on average, I think they listen to about 4 or 5 podcasts per week, right? So if somebody is listening to a Ravens podcast, they're not listening to one; they're listening to 4 or 5 more podcasts because they need podcasts to get throughout their day, whether they're working or whatever or commuting. So they're going to listen to yours and other people's. So you just need to worry about getting yourself out there, making yourself be seen and heard out there. Same thing with YouTube. You don't control, how ultimately how you're viewed. The YouTube algorithm pushes that out. Now, there's some things that you can do to help push out your video to help get recognized by the algorithm, but they control that. So you just control what you can control. You try to put out the best quality video and audio that you can, and don't worry about the rest. Just work on what you can control. The other thing is too, what are you trying to get out of it? Right. That's all I always ask people. Anytime people hit that wall, because everybody hits that wall, we're just like, man, I've been doing this for 2 months and I'm not seeing any growth, man. Like I'm tired and nobody's watching, nobody's listening. What is your goal? What are you trying to get out of it? If you got 20,000 subscribers today, if they just landed in your lap, what would you do with it? Right? If you got a bunch of people just listening to your audio podcast today, just out of nowhere, would you be able to handle that? Do you have content that they can go back and listen to? Do you have videos that they can go back and a backlog of videos that they can go back and take a look at your stuff and say, oh yeah, I can be here for hours watching this stuff, right? Do you have anything to sell them, right? If you're trying to make money, what do you have? Do you have a Patreon? Do you have merchandise? Do you have anything that you can sell to them that they can support you with? If the answer is no, then you need to start thinking about that stuff, right? It's a lot of steps to get to that point where you're really blowing up like those people that you see that you want to be. And are you ready to make it a full-time job? Are you ready to give them that content consistently every time? Like we said, we do a live show every Wednesday night at 7:15 p.m. Eastern time. Like that's ingrained in my head because we do that every week at the same time on time. All right. Are you prepared to do that?
Are you prepared to put in that work? Hey, listen, so this is why I wanted to have these guys on, just to talk about this tough game that we do. I mean, like it's not easy work for those that are just thinking they could just hop on here and then, hey, I'm gonna start a channel. And we kind of run into people like that every day who start a channel and they super excited and they got all the energy in the world, and then as you said, Jose, they hit that wall, and it's gonna happen. It is gonna happen to the best of us. So y'all better take heed of these nuggets that these brothers dropped, because it's real talk. And please follow and subscribe to all of their work as well. I want to take this time to, for one, thank you guys for coming on to Open Mic. Thank you guys for being supportive of this show. Thank you guys for giving me that nudge to start my own thing. Thank you guys for even supporting Off the Record, when that was in full swing of what we got going on. And then, of course, for supporting Ring Kings, who we got going on right now, and then got it popping. As you can see, we got the merch going on, and everybody got a little bit of thing on. But this is the time I want you guys to push your work. Tell the people where they can find you on social media. Tell the people where they can find how to get to that good work, as I tend to this one right here. Hendo.
Yes, sir. You can find me on Ravens Online on Gatekeeper every Sunday night for a live show. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter at our Gatekeepers. And also now we have merch and got something special coming up because I just got a text message, I think, of a finished product. So we shall see how that works out.
Hey.
Nice.
Kids.
Gotta love him, right? With my man, with cousin Dave on that FTK. He knows what that means. So B and Jose, man, tell everybody where they can find LBHT, how they can become a member of this army you guys are creating. Tell them where everything is so they know what's up. This fire merch that you guys got going on. Let them know.
All right, Lunch Break Hot Take. We do a live show every Wednesday night, 7:15 p.m. Eastern time. And, we drop videos here and there. We try to do a post-game show after the Ravens or Panthers play on Sundays. But, that's TBA, okay? We can't, we don't make any promises other than that Wednesday show. All right. But you can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at LBHT Show. The audio podcast drops on Thursday at noon. Every Thursday at noon on your lunch break. That's when you can download it. And you see the merch, Ring Kings. We have our other channel, Ring Kings Podcast. We do an audio podcast and a YouTube video that comes out every Monday. I think around noon. I don't have a set time for that yet. Probably like between 10 and noon is the time. And yeah, lbhtshow.com/shop is where you can get the merch. We have a lot of stuff on there. We have some things that we're going to be updating very soon. So make sure you go and check it out. Look at what Mikey's wearing. Look at what B's wearing. Okay. It is cold out there. All right. Get you something that's going to keep you warm. Mm-hmm. It's going to keep you warm this winter because winter is coming. Man. It is good quality. Yes. We ain't mentioned that, but look, even for the merchandise, right? Like attention to detail, like pay attention to what you're selling, right? Is it something that people want to buy? Is it good quality stuff that you would wear? Like we take all that into consideration when we put this stuff out. So just know when you buy something from that store, we put a lot of thought into it.
Yeah, and also I just want to add that you can find all of us every Monday on Sip to Tally Films with Coach Evans doing a Ravens roundtable every week. I'm a Panthers fan. I don't know why I'm there, but it's a good group. It's a good conversation. So definitely subscribe to that. He puts it out on an audio podcast as well, I believe the next day. And for all of these shows, subscribe, like. If you're listening to the audio podcast, leave a 5-star review. That really helps with growth and discoverability for all these shows.
That's right. Shout out to Coach and Chris, and we join each other. We have a good Monday. Listen, Victory Mondays are always a little bit better, a little quicker.
Yes, indeed.
Than Mondays after a loss. So we'll see how it goes on the next one. But yeah, man, listen, fellas, I appreciate you guys again. This will not be the last time you will see or hear these guys on Open Mic, of course, because listen, they have an open pass, so I'll be reaching out to them on a lot of occasions. So that's it, man. That's another episode down of Open Mic. Listen, you can follow me on Twitter at OTR Mike, Instagram at OTR Mike _ and TikTok at OTR _ Mike. And you can find the show here on YouTube if you're watching, or on all your podcast streaming platforms. Until next time, y'all, we out. Peace.